Senior Special Advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on National Assembly Affairs, Senator Ita Enangs, says all hands are on deck to ensure 2016 budget proposal to be sent to the National Assembly for consideration and passage into law. It also disclosed that preparation on the budget has reached advanced stage. Senator Enang made this known at a news briefing in Abuja, saying a date will soon be set aside when the budget proposal will be laid at the two chambers of the National Assembly.
We'll forward the medium-term expenditure framework and the fiscal strategy paper, after being perfected by the relevant ministries and officers and submitted. Two, he will forward it to the National Assembly. The National Assembly will consider it, and then after, or in the course of it, Mr. President will communicate to the National Assembly the date for the date on which the 2016 budget will be laid. You know, that is normally preceded by a letter from the President requesting the date, and the letter will soon be issued.
Speaking on the newly introduced Treasury Single Account, the presidential aide said all the federal ministries and agencies are now appreciating the new measure.
SA is one of the best policies that has been introduced and consolidated by this administration. And I'm not answering this as an officer of the Mr. President's office. I'm answering this as a lawyer and somebody who's been involved in the economy of this country. The TSA mandates that every agency of government will maintain a single account with a bank, which is coordinated and reflects at the central bank, where every money of the agency, for whichever purpose, is domiciled and will be seen. You know that, I'm sure you are aware of all the issues that are happening in the trial circles now, in the judicial circles now, where accounts in previous times, one agency will keep different accounts in different banks. And when it comes to the time of disclosure, it will say this is recurrent, this is capital, this is escrow, and they give it different names.
It will be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration introduced the single treasury account to check corruption in government transactions. Muyiwa Bamidele reporting.
Nigerians at home and in the diaspora have been called upon to embrace the culture of volunteerism as a tool to key into the change mantra of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Permanent Secretary of Political Affairs, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Ambassador Akindele Bambose, made the call at an event to mark 2015 International Volunteer Day held in Abuja. The Permanent Secretary, represented by Tof Safsa, highlighted the importance of volunteerism as a tool to mobilize citizens to contribute to the development of their community and the nation at large.
It is my sincere hope that this event will create the needed awareness on volunteerism and encourage the general public to be more involved in voluntary work for the development of their communities. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Nigerian National Volunteer Service, Political Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary of Government of Federation, is always ready to partner with individual volunteers, NGOs, and the organized private sector to promote the culture of volunteerism in the country.
Volunteerism is a global phenomenon that transcends boundaries, religions, and cultural divides. Volunteerism embodies the fundamental values of commitment, inclusiveness, civic engagement, and a sense of solidarity.
There are different things you can work on as a volunteer. And so when you talk about volunteerism, you're looking at a volunteer who is unpaid. And the bottom line there is you're not expecting a financial reward, but you are doing something beyond yourself that will benefit other members of the society. That is what volunteerism is about.
International Volunteer Day, marked every 5th of December, was set aside by the United Nations General Assembly to draw the attention of the world to the important role that volunteerism can play in the development process of member nations. From Abuja, LM Chukwamaka reports.
A senator representing Kogi West in the Senate, Dino Melai, has attributed his victory at the Court of Appeal to God. Appeal court sitting in Lokoja upheld the election of Senator Dino Melai as he threw out the appeal filed by Smart Adeyemi. In a chat with journalists in Abuja, Melai said the will of the people had been expressed in the appeal court judgment.
I give the glory to God Almighty for this victory. Like one popular Nigerian musician will say, "Now God win." And it's just a demonstration of the fact that the people have won. And that is a demonstration of the fact that power truly belongs to God, and the will of the people is the will of God.
In Abuja, Muyobam Dele reporting.
Suites, number 1 AMO Road off Epotrol, GRA, Benin City, Edo State. Website www.prestigehotel.com.ng. Email info@prestigehotel.com.ng. Telephone number 070-620-84038, 081-519-74044. Prestige Hotel and Suites, world-class hospitality.
Federal government has reiterated its commitment to the development and deployment of information communication technology in all sectors of the nation's economy, especially in education sector, as a catalyst for the attainment of sustainable national development. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Folashode Yemi Esan, made this known in Abuja at a one-day workshop for federal unity schools in Nigeria, organized by the ministry in collaboration with school media and Samsung. The Permanent Secretary, who was represented by Director of Human Resources in the ministry, Bello Umar, said the ministry is ready to support initiatives and programs that will impact positively on the nation's education sector.
Education is in the concurrent release in Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Education will do all what it takes to remain on the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, the current administration has emphasized and continue to emphasize the need to change the way things were done, and the need to make sure that the capacity of teachers will be enhanced. Ladies and gentlemen, you should regard this training as the train the trainer, because at the end of this training, we expect you to go back to your schools and train others on this.
ICT in education is making a difference. ICT is changing the process of teaching and learning by adding elements of vitality to learning environment, including virtual environment. ICT is a potentially powerful tool for offering educational opportunities.
Teaching and learning had become a collaborative effort between teachers and students. What does that mean for educational institutions? It means that educational performances of students would obviously be better off. It means that teaching and learning will be seen as a fun-filled exercise rather than struggle hassle.
He maintained that teaching has evolved from traditional methods where teachers are seen as custodians of knowledge. From Abuja, LM Chugwemeka reports.
The lingering controversy surrounding the sale of the Nigerian telecommunications and mobile telecommunications appears not to be over, as the House of Representatives mandated its committees on telecommunications and privatization to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the liquidation and takeover of Nitel Mtel by Natcom Consortium. In December 2014, Nitel and Mtel was sold to a consortium named Natcom for the sum of $242.3 million by the Bureau of Public Enterprise due to its mismanagement. The resolution by the House is sequel to motion by Honorable Henry Nwauba during the plenary and unanimously adopted after a brief debate. Nwauba, who led the debate, wondered why the National Council on Privatization and Bureau of Public Enterprises went ahead to liquidate Nitel and Mtel, despite a standing resolution by the 7th Assembly of the House.
Honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, in the 7th Assembly, there was a motion moved by Honorable Ibrahim Shehu Gusau, who was the then chairman of ICT, that led to a resolution from this House that mandated a joint committee of privatization and commercialization, ICT, and communications. A public hearing was conducted and a resolution reached refraining the National Council on Privatization and BPE
Order, please.
from selling Nitel. Despite that standing resolution, honorable colleagues, NCP and BPE went ahead and liquidated the companies in December 2014.
Please.
Telecommunications at one point remained the second largest contributor to our economy. They were the second largest contribution to our GDP, and one is forced to wonder, why would, despite a subsisting resolution by this House, why would NCP and BPE go ahead and flout the resolution and conclude the liquidations?
The House worried that since the sales and subsequent takeover of the companies by Natcom, lots of controversies have been raised about the processes leading to the sales, particularly about the alleged undervaluation of the companies prior to their sales.
It is so painful and it bleeds every citizen's heart that some individuals, and I repeat, some individuals, under the so-called phony privatization policy, threw caution to the winds, and it led to that major investigation called the Pentascope investigation.
The truth is that the commission that is being paid by the private telecoms on Nitel facilities alone in Nigeria is more than the price that this company was sold.
Mr. Speaker, I want to give us some numbers. Nitel assets, including landed properties in Lagos alone, which is located or situated in very choice parts of Lagos, is in excess of 150 billion naira. This same Nitel was sold for $252.2 million. In Abuja alone, Nitel assets is in excess of 50 billion naira. In Enugu, in the southeast, where I come from, Nitel's assets is in excess of 50 billion naira, and that is just to mention but a few. So therefore, Nitel entire assets in the whole country is much more than what we realized.
But Mr. Speaker, I'm looking at this critically on issues of security. On issues of security, Nitel is only sectors that we have that could have been able to monitor the security of this great country and enhance the security efficiency of this great country.
Apart from the fiber optic system in Nitel, there is also a SAT-3 undersea cable, which is valued at hundreds of millions of US dollars. It is still owned by Nitel. a lot of telecommunication companies in Nigeria depend on this undersea cable to even receive their communication signals from overseas. I want the committee to inquire as to the capacity of this NATCOM in being handed over NITEL and MTEL to run. The reason is that since this privatization took place, we have not heard that they have commenced operations under NITEL or MTEL.
Honorable Sajos Oguns, in his contribution, says a different thought.
Mr. Speaker, as much as I appreciate the mover of this motion and the need to investigate the sales, I will be quick to caution us, because my brother Dixon mentioned the liabilities, pension, our salaries not being paid to workers and all that. We overprotected NITEL. Honorable Chiki also made mention of the value and all that. I know the NITEL towers by Marina is worth a whole lot and other assets. But we talked about the fiber optics and all that. Do we know the state of this infrastructure today? We have overprotected NITEL. There are so many legal issues. That's why it could not be sold for this number of years. I'm not even sure NITEL is worth anything today besides the physical building. If you ask me if we can approach AT&T and say, can you manage NITEL for free? And they agree, I think we should give to them. So the point I'm trying to make here, the investigation should be more of, does NATCOM have the capacity to run NITEL very well? If they can, we should be looking at the tax that they will pay when they run efficiently to the government, the people they will employ, and the services to this country.
To this end, a voice vote was thrown on the floor by Speaker Yakubu Dogara, and it went in favor of majority. The motion, which is expected back to the House in 8 weeks, was however referred to the House Committee on Telecommunications and Privatization for further legislative input. Osam Raffle, Ben Television.